All right, so welcome to another Let's Talk. Had this thought that popped up in my brain of, because I was listening to some podcasts on YouTube and such, and there's this thing came up about story writing and how certain types of story writing can convey stories better. I won't not name drop any podcasts. I'm going to try my hardest not to name drop any specific titles of games, either which way. So the thought process was basically of this: the best way of telling story, and I've gone over and I've said this time and time again in Let's Talk forums and on stream and this and that and the other thing. But to me, the best way that you can convey stories and put people into, because a game is not just a game anymore. It's an experience. It's a world. It's a living, breathing universe, environments. You're in the world. You got this going on, that going on. You got different, stories, plot twisting around each other, and all that stuff. Um, so to me, and this is, I guess I'll probably name this something like, the proper way of storytelling in gaming. Um, what I would say, if you are looking to be a video game writer and you are looking to jump into gaming writing and are trying to drag people in, again, I am not a storyline writer. I'm more or less like you see my channel. I'm a reviewer, kind of, reviewer. I like to give thoughts and viewpoints on different products and everything. So my thoughts when it comes to just somebody on the outside of, that has never worked with a writing team or anything like that, but from a consumer gamer, somebody who jumps into the world and okay, how does a story take place, and that type of look on the situation. um Definitely. So the most, just absolutely the number one thing that you need to go for is make sure your characters are all very smart. The characters should be smart about the world they are in, the environment that they are in. Um, even for the stuff that is like, okay, we don't quite know what this enemy or whatever is over here, but we have some knowledge of what they could be and what we need to be looking out for. Basically, I want to jump into worlds. I want to jump into a universe and feel like I'm just as smart as anyone else in there. And then also, I want to be able to learn about the universe as I'm going through the environment, because then I stay tuned in to the whole thing. If the characters are just running around like, I don't know what the hell this is, I don't know what that is, and I don't know what the situation is that we're running into. I can name drop one title I've said before in the past, um, but I'm trying really not to name drop any specific titles. But there is a few different games that will do that, where it's like the characters just have no idea what's going on around them, and the idea of it from the writer's standpoint is that you are learning about the world and the environment along with the character. The problem with that is it makes you kind of tune out a bit. It's like, okay, so you're not getting any information. You're getting the information from the environment and the different things are, but it just feels like everybody's dumb in the cast, and so it's like you as the player are not getting the information from the dialogue that's happening. Um, there's some great examples, like if you are in the game world and the characters are talking around you and talking to themselves, more or less, so the character that you are playing as is talking to their characters in the universe, and you're hearing that dialogue all around you in your headphones. You are picking up little bits and pieces of, it's world building. You're picking up bits and pieces of the storyline that's happening around you. It's world building. It's building up the environment, so then you are constantly having to stay tuned in. It sucks for streamers and content creators because you can't talk over top of that type of a dialogue, but it's great overall for keeping people invested. And because there's definitely more people that are just regular consumers than there are streamers. So that's why I'm like, screw streamers, screw content creators. I am just looking at this as a consumer standpoint. um or a just as a gamer standpoint, a fan of whatever the story is. I'm intrigued to see where the story goes. It's that kind of a thing. Okay, so and definitely there's certain games that do this more and certain games that do it less. And I feel like the games that do it more, I don't know if it's more dialogue or, and this is actually another thing too. I like, is it the dialogue? Is it the voice actors themselves? It's one that's a very hard question to actually grasp an answer for, because it's a little bit of everything, but at the same time it can possibly be like even sloppy writing can be made way better by a voice actor, you know? So this is actually something I kind of want to go into an extended let's talk on sometime, maybe with Frostbite, where I look at kind of like, is it the storyline writing that really makes characters pop, or is it the voice acting that makes it pop, or does it have to be a combination of both that marries together, where the story writing and the voice actor just they mesh really well together. But overall, rule of thumb, if you are planning on writing a game, and games and movies are very different, and this is where, I mean, that's a whole different topic of conversation, is how to write a 12-hour game versus a 2-hour movie. And that's one thing where I think there's a lot we get a lot of video game writers now, and I think this is actually kind of a thing of like movie writing. It kind of stems from that, though, is the fact of movies, the characters are constantly talking. You don't have any downtime. A movie is you only have this amount of time to tell this amount of story, and if the characters aren't talking to the audience and talking to each other, or talking to the audience via talking to each other, then there's no story being told, and the movie's kind of just stagnant. At the same time, don't overdo it. Also, there's a lot of stuff like the game world itself. It can be a character. The environment can be a character in its own right, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the environment and everything. Free roam games has a lot of that happening, where all of a sudden you just you have the people on the streets, or you have the billboards, or you have marketplaces or whatever, and the environments are alive, so they are a character of their own self, and that environment, that character is also telling a story too. But again, the reason why it's telling the story is because it's not, the environment is not dumb. It is alive. It is breathing. There is something there. The same goes for characters, though. The same thing goes for characters. I don't know. I thought this was kind of an interesting little piece of dialogue to really get out there. I feel like not too many people talk about this, of like what, from a consumer standpoint, what really makes a story pop. And again, I feel like it is a lot to do with the environment, but it's also the main characters that you are listening to like, okay, so, I know that there is a reason for this type of an enemy, or this event happening over here. And I know that here is the reasons why this could be happening. So let's figure out exactly which reason it is, because then it makes your brain go, so if it's this or this or this, and which one is it? And it makes you invested and makes you want to keep going, figure out the next plot twist, and that's another thing too. Like, a lot of times when you have smart characters, the plot twists, because the characters are pushing you in one direction, then you can plot twist into something else. Sometimes writing can be sloppy and you can see the plot twist coming a mile away, sure, but I feel like that is your best way of not only doing dialogue, but also weaving stories together and making multiple stories fit into one thing that can possibly be a plot twist on top of that. So storyline writing is one of the most important things, along with, like visual story writing, audio. It all comes together to make games as good as they are. But yeah, it's like I said, one of those things of, again, like I could name off like 4 different games that does stuff really well, and 4 of them that do stuff really bad. but I don't really want to go into specifics on different things. I just wanted to like kind of throw examples out there. Over on this side of the video, I'm probably going to be showing some trailers of like roughly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm not, it's like whatever I show over on this side of the screen is not exactly what I'm talking about. It's just kind of like in reference to where my brain's going. If you follow the channel at all, you know a lot of games I am kind of getting these references off from anyways, because I talk about them in my Let's Talks a lot. But I figured it's about time I try and start doing something a little bit on the fact of like, I talk so much about game design, but I never make videos of like, here's what you should really do. I do talk about it a lot when I'm watching specific trailers, but just overall, in broad general of game design, what I find that works the best is when you are learning about the world from the characters that are talking. You are learning about the world also from the world that you are exploring. And then those two come together to really give you to really paint the overall picture of it all. And it makes you want to explore the environments more. It makes you want to listen to every single thing that the characters are saying. It makes you want to figure out what the next thing is to keep the story going. I feel like that is like AAA development in a nutshell. Sometimes indie studios are really good at making that happen too, but yeah, like your best indie titles do what the AAA titles do, just on a smaller budget. Of course, you know, that's just common sense. But definitely, if you are an indie developer, keep that in mind. Of, you know, think like you are a big studio. You know, think like you are making the biggest #1 bestseller. You should always go into your game development thinking that way. Not just like, oh, this is just a side project, because that side project can blow up into something way bigger than what you think it's going to. Especially if you're telling a story that is, again, where everything is painting the picture of the overall, you know, universe, world, whatever that you are exploring and such. And if you are AAA, again, you need really good writers, but also you need a very good environment and maybe a soundtrack to go along with it too. So anyways, yeah, just a quick little video. Just I've been wanting to put those thoughts out there on video for so long. It's been probably like a month or so that I've been wanting to actually make this video, and just a quick little snapshot of an idea of, okay, so here's what makes me go, very interesting, you know, when it comes to storyline writing. I could probably do another couple of videos on, you know, music and also gameplay feeling and such. So yeah, hit the thumbs up button if on this video if you kind of like just a little shorter snapshot of rule of thumb that I go by if a trailer, especially if a game trailer shows me that the characters are smart, you have my attention already. And then trying to keep my attention after that, that's where the next part of the whole thing is like, okay, let's see where this goes. Okay, okay, so that the characters know what's happening in the world, and they're not just you know, if they're just wandering around aimlessly, just going like, I don't know what this thing is over here. It looks crazy and it's running at me and I'm shooting at it. I still don't know what it is. There's nothing to latch on to there, you know. If something's like, okay, that is a such and such alien, or that is that person's part of that gang over there, okay, then what the hell is this? What are there other aliens like this? Is that guy like the top of his gang, or is there other gangs like it, or whatever? It makes you just, you know, it just clicks in the intrigue and the interest to figure out like what the hell is happening in the environment, in the world, and everything. But again, quick little video. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by, and as always, I will see you next time.